screens, but they cannot talk about human life. Animal life is more important than human life. That is the BBC. That is the BBC for you. They respect animals than human beings. They respect dictators than democracy. We wonder where William Pike, the well-known BBC correspondent in Kenya and Uganda, got his wealth. He's the richest journalist in Kenya. I want to ask the BBC, how much do you pay your journalist a year? Pike, William Pike, he was awarded millions and millions of pounds because he was with Museveni in the bush, polishing his image, sanitizing his crimes against humanity. We have almost 1 million Ugandans died in Luwelo under Museveni. Do you know why he went to the bush? One of the reasons was rigging the elections. The second one was African leaders who stay in power for a long time. Is 41 years not a long time? 41 years is more than enough. This is a brutal dictator who came to power time for Margaret Thatcher. In the UK, we changed 13 prime ministers. In Uganda, we still live under the same brutal dictator, Museveni, the junta of Uganda. You ask yourself, why women are standing here on the front line? These are the victims of the brutal dictator. These women here have been raped. They've been tortured. We are the victims, I repeat, of the brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. And when the BBC comes out and they talk about immigrant flood in the UK, showing boats, today we had 1,000 immigrants from France. It's the BBC. This is the double standard. Why the BBC doesn't visit countries around the world where immigrants are coming from? It's called dictatorship. They are all facing dictatorship. But the BBC, if they cannot identify Museveni as a dictator, who is going to be a dictator again? They can call Maduro of Venezuela a dictator, a 13-year in power, but they can't call Museveni, a 41-year in power, a dictator. Double standard by the BBC, and shame on you. Shame on the BBC. Shame on the BBC. You claim to have been studied your literature in Oxford or Cambridge, the best universities around, but you cannot identify. You think a dictator in Venezuela is not the same dictator in Uganda. If you want to convince me so, then the word dictator, you should rub it off the maps of the world. We can see journalists running out to Iran after 50 years of the Ayatollahs in Iran killing Iranians. Now today the BBC, who have been caught sleeping on duty, they are now in Iran reporting about the atrocities in Iran. Which is, we support the change in Iran as being Ugandans who are fighting a 41-year dictatorship in Uganda. We support the people of Iran to be free. And the same, we want the BBC, the way how they are reporting the unleash of army on the people of Iran, is the same way we are asking and begging that the BBC should do the same with Uganda. We want Uganda to be on the front news. We want Uganda to be on the mainstream media, not on Facebook. While you know that Facebook is banned in Uganda. You didn't talk about the internet being cut off in Uganda. The BBC, I don't think you'll do your work without the internet. All the media houses, Sky News, ITV, Al Jazeera, they are talking and reporting about Uganda. The BBC is quiet, and we know the reason why the BBC is quiet. We keep on asking, where is William Pike, the so-called journalist who was embedded with Museveni while he was in the Bush War? Because of the interest of BBC in Uganda, they cannot report about the abduction, the human rights abuses in Uganda. People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. Shame on the BBC. Shame on the BBC. Shame on Mr. Sharma. Shame on Mr. Sharma. The man who is blocking the news from Uganda. Thank you. Mzee. Kwata. Telewa. Tell Padel. Tell Padel. Tell Wa. Tell Wa. Tell Padel. Tell Wa. NUP. Everywhere. Everywhere. Kunga Uganda. Kunga Uganda. Kunga Uganda. BBC, we promise you one thing. We will come here again until you become a news broadcaster, not a news hoarder. You've hoarded Uganda news for 41 years. We will come again and again and again. We will never tire. NUP, everywhere. Tell Wa, tell Padal. BBC, I promise you one thing. If ruled Uganda for 7 years and he was able to buy 20 planes, aircraft, connect Uganda internationally, and you called him a murderer and a dictator, the same guy ruling Uganda, the junta Museveni, has ruled Uganda for 41 years. And out of that time, he has swindled millions. Idi Amin died in Saudi Arabia penniless. The junta in Uganda is $13 billion strong. Which of the two is corrupt? I leave it to you to do investigative journalism. The worst dictator Africa has ever had is Museveni. Quote Mabudani's book, Slow Poison. He told you there is nothing worse than Museveni. Museveni, when he was still fighting to get in power, BBC gave him a live coverage for 5 years. At the moment, for 41 years, they praising his name. BBC never mentions anything bad about Uganda. All they say, the fish in Lake Victoria has increased. What does fish have to do with human life? We are losing a lot of people. The only thing we hear, you report, the crocodile population in River Nile its population is larger than when it was 10 years ago. What have you got to do with crocodiles when human beings are being killed? There is a lot of things happening. You report about the environment in the Amazon. When Museveni came to power, Uganda had a very thick coverage of forests. Today, we are worse than the Amazon. BBC, you've never reported the deforestation that goes on. Even the Chinese,
know what they're doing. They're doing the deforestation. But BBC, you are quiet. CNN reports about the deforestation. That's how bad BBC you've been. When the corruption scandals hit Uganda, you normalize this. You've never reported about the scandals in Uganda. BBC, you've received backhand from the junta. We know this. We've got proof. We've got all the proof to say the managers, the directors have had a backhand corruption. In short, BBC, how come Sharma, that's the name, Bishop Sentamu, Lord Puppet, Lord Fake Sentamu Bishop, they are all twinned with BBC. That's how the corruption works. And they do the money laundering. It's very visible. The Lord Puppet, Madhvana ambassador, the Indian, plus Sentamu, they swindle this money through the temple in Wembley. All we see is when the junta comes, he flies to the temple in Wembley, and they all congregate with Lord Puppet, showing Museveni around the temple. Bags of money go to the temple in Wembley. And the BBC is keeping quiet. We have had citizen journalism for the last 41 years. They have exposed a lot. We've got evidence. We've got evidence of the murders, the executions, the robbings. But BBC never talks about it. Fast forward. For the last 120 days, our president, our opposition leader, has been fighting with the disgraced government. He's been tear-gassed, shot at, live bets, tear-gassed with money and boots, sponsored, paid for by the British government. BBC has never reported this. Yet, fast forward, in April, Prince Charles is visiting Uganda. What the heck? Why don't you report things that make news? We don't care if the monarch is visiting. We care about our lives. Which comes first? Is he going to visit our corpses? This is a man, in the last 40 years, he's just built prisons. He hasn't built hospitals. The hospitals that are standing were built during the colonial times and during Obote and during Amin. Amin did more than Museveni what he has done. Amin is a man from northern Uganda, but he built a hospital out of charity in the western Uganda. Today what's referred to as Mbara Medical School. That was Amin's ingenuity. He found gaps in the medical sector and he said a hospital should be built. When he ran away as a dictator, he took nothing. This Museveni, you've never reported. His family as a monarchy, Museveni of Uganda, is 13 million strong. His son, who is the commander of the army, has billions. His wife, they call the education minister, who has not even a primary living certificate. She can't run a meter. She's the sports minister. She has millions. His brother is the de facto minister of finance. He's robbed, he's owned every committee in Uganda. He's a governor, he's on the board of directors from all the British companies, Shell and BP and so on. He sucks a lot of money as a governor. It's a small mafioso. He has to be given a backhand for a company to work in Uganda. BBC, you never report this. BAT had to leave Uganda because they refused to yield, to give the junta money and backhand through the brother. They are now in Nairobi. They had to sell off everything to the junta's brother. That's how bad it happens. BBC never came out to report. BAT put out a story, but William Pike and the other emissaries from BBC